Salmon Run has a few special waves. Some of them are very difficult and challenge the team's ability to adapt and work together, and the others are easier and more on the fun side as long as you know what to do. But there's an outlier, a wave that's hated by many players, and it's the Tornado Wave. This wave is well known for being free because egg counts are doubled and it's near impossible to lose unless you're throwing on purpose. But it's also widely disliked and many people find it bad, myself included. But I think it has potential. So in this video, I'm first going to explain what makes Tornado bad, and then I'll suggest a rework for it that addresses its issues and makes it more fun while still keeping it fairly easy. I'm gonna start off by explaining what the wave is and why people find it boring so we can determine what should be changed. Tornado is a special wave. It's always on low tide and there's a crate full of eggs that spawns in one of 3 positions at the end of the map. The objective is to break it and bring back the eggs to the basket. The egg count is doubled, and during the wave there are moments where lesser salmonids will fall from the sky in the middle of the map. The way you beat it is by making a chain where you throw eggs in 3 steps to bring them closer to the basket. Step 1 is from the crate spawn to the middle of the map, 2 is closer to the basket, and 3 is directly into the basket. The lessers here don't actually make the wave challenging, they just make it really annoying. They fall from the sky in massive clusters and whichever player is in the middle has to deal with like 50 lessers at once. I understand what the devs were going for, with lessers falling from the sky because there's a tornado, but that's the only element that references that idea and it's not even done well. The only other thing is a barely visible GIF in the distance. To me, the biggest problem here is the gameplay. It has no real depth and it's not fun or rewarding. Yeah, it might be a free wave, but there are ways to make it easy to meet quota without it being so boring and repetitive. And also, it doesn't take advantage of the tornado idea. For this rework, I aim to keep the wave relatively easy while also making it enjoyable and playing more into the tornado concept and the chaos that comes with it, because I genuinely think some really cool stuff could be done with the idea. First of all, the wave wouldn't be high tide, normal tide, or even low tide. It would randomly alternate between normal tide and low tide every 25 seconds. And as to not have entire squads dead because they didn't look at the timer, the water level animation that plays at the start of every wave will show up for 7 seconds before the tide changes. So let's say the wave starts on normal tide. It will stay that way for 25 seconds until it changes, and you'll be warned of that change for 7 seconds so you have time to prepare. When it comes to eggs, they would fall from the sky in random spots on the map every 2 seconds. But if they fall on the low tide area and you don't collect them before it changes to normal tide, then they will be moved further away from their landing spot as if the water pushed them away. This means next time you have access to them, they will demand more time and organization. The egg counts wouldn't be doubled, but there would be these big eggs that drop less frequently than regular eggs. These were data mined a while back, but haven't seen any use so far. One of these bigger eggs is worth 5 regular eggs, so I think they'd keep it somewhat easy to reach the quota. When it comes to lesser salmonids, they would also fall onto the map but in clusters of 3 to 5. Since there's already many of them, they would fall every 5 seconds. And like other waves, there would also be snatchers that could be used strategically to bring faraway eggs closer to the basket. But while they could carry their usual stacks of 10 for regular eggs, they'd only be able to carry 1 of the big eggs at once. The strategy I had in mind for this wave would be for players to focus on faraway eggs first and bring them somewhere where they'd be safe when the tide changes. Then they could be thrown into the basket during the wave. So to summarize, tornado waves would no longer be just low tide. They'd alternate between normal tide and low tide with an adequate warning so players don't drown all the time. Eggs will drop randomly, and any eggs that get submerged in water will be pushed further away. There's the possibility for big eggs to drop that are worth 5 regular eggs. Lesser salmonids will also fall randomly but less frequently than eggs to keep the wave manageable. To adapt the difficulty, higher hazard levels will get more rare eggs but also more lessers and harder lessers to deal with. So at low hazard levels you could get clusters of 3 lessers more often, and at high hazards you could get more clusters of 5 with more Quahawks. And as an aesthetic thing, I think that the tornado itself could be closer and more visible because the way it's done currently in the game doesn't really take advantage of it. It's kinda just something in the distance. As I mentioned before, my aim with this rework was to improve the gameplay while still keeping it close enough to its original intent. It keeps that core idea of having to bring faraway eggs to the basket, but it makes it more fun and challenging with the changing water levels. There's also the big eggs, and the fact that eggs can be pushed back by the water that will make you think more about how to play the wave. I also tried to still include and have lessers as the main danger, but I didn't want them to be as annoying as they are currently. And that was my idea for a rework of the tornado wave in Salmon Run. This special wave has always bothered me, because yeah, it's cool as a free wave in freelance, but it's just bad in every other aspect. I mean, there's a reason you never see me include it as background footage in videos. It's so boring and repetitive to both watch and play. Also, this was my first time making a video like this where I rework something in Splatoon, so let me know in the comments what you thought of this rework and if there's anything you'd add or change. Thank you so much for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye!